Hi, welcome back. If you haven't been here before, my name is Lee. So today I want to talk about the LNG, liquid natural gas deal that was announced by President Biden at a press conference during his 2-3 day visit to the European Union. Now he went there for primarily 3 meetings, one to meet with the EU, one to meet with the G7 countries, and thirdly for the NATO meeting. So we did 3 meetings in one. Now, from what I understand, before the meeting there was a load of additional sanctions that were going to be issued against Russia. But it turns out that it seems as though there could be no agreement made. You know, there's some of the European countries are pushing back very heavily about further energy sanction because of their heavy reliance on Russian energy. Anyway, let's get to the LNG deal. So it was announced that the United States have signed a deal to supply more liquid natural gas to the EU. Now, there's a number of things that surround this. So the first thing I want to sort of mention is that I believe this was one of the US intentions all along, and obviously it's going to be a big short-term gain for the US from this. Now, the reason I say this is when a number of years ago, when Germany announced Nord Stream 2, the gas pipeline connecting Russian Siberian gas fields to Germany to import natural gas through that pipeline. The US have been very, very against this, and they've tried on numerous occasions to try and stop this. Well, finally, when the Russians invaded Ukraine, this deal was squashed, and the US were very, very happy about that. So now the US can sell more LNG to Germany, and it seems that under Merkel, I believe Germany would not have done that, and I think it seems as though the newly formed government of Germany have made a complete 180-degree about turn and are now very subservient to US demands. And it appears to me this whole thing that the EU are becoming very subservient to the US. Now, the second thing about this is that although this deal has been signed, right now the US don't have the capacity to supply more LNG to Europe. And also, Europe don't really have the capacity to accept more LNG. So what's going to happen is Germany are going to build some more LNG ports, which will take at least 2 to 3 years. And obviously America have to increase their capacity, which will also take a number of years. This is something you can't just do overnight. Now, the consequence of this is that the LNG that the US are going to supply in the short term to Europe means it's gas they can't supply to other places. So ultimately, this will push up the price of LNG gas because there'll become more of a fight over countries who need this gas, and that will push the price up in auction. So it'll actually be the US will be the winners from that, because US corporations will ultimately get more for the gas they're selling. And the losers will be Europe, because Europe will end up paying more for LNG gas. Now, Europe have said they're going to try and wean themselves off Russian energy, and there's all sorts of claims going around that they're going to do that, 60% within 6 months, and then maybe all of it within a year. But I think if you look at more sort of sensible claims, it's probably realistically going to take till 2024, 2025 for even there to be a possibility of Europe not using Russian energy. And so, it's not going to happen overnight. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is that due to Europe now paying or having to pay higher costs for LNG gas because of the process of LNG gas is inherently more expensive than natural gas. This is going to put more strain on European households because they're going to have to pay more for their energy. And, you know, a huge amount of German households especially rely on gas to heat their homes. And even one minister in Germany have suggested that, you know, Germans have the temperature within inside their house at 15 degrees, ludicrous. But more so, German industry are going to have to pay a lot more for their energy. Now, unless the governments of Europe subsidize their industries, Europe are going to be far more less competitive than other areas of the world for manufacture and production. So again, that is going to push up prices within those industries, make finished goods costs more expensive, etc., etc. So this is something else that is a consequence to the sanctions they've put on Russia. And one last thing I want to address in this video is that I think it was the German energy minister or the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz who's come out and said that they are not going to abide by Russia demanding payment for gas in rubles. And what's quite funny is that they've said that that would be a breach of contract. And I just think that's very rich coming from a country who, part of the European Union along with the US, has put a number or many sanctions, many illegal sanctions against Russia into place, that they're now saying to Russia that they will be in breach of contract. Personally, I don't think Russia give a damn whether they're in breach of contract or not. It's Russia's gas, and they can demand it be paid for in whatever currency they so wish. Now, Gazprom have another 4 or 5 days to implement Putin's directions about pricing gas in rubles. Now, this may be just a sort of scare tactic by Russia, but if it's not, and they carry this through, then I really don't know what the EU are going to do. They can either pay in rubles or they will have their gas cut off by Russia. And, you know, it's just ridiculous that they will cite breach of contract. Anyway, that's my take on the current situation. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But as always, for now, take care.